negocio. I apologize that I was not able to get online last night due to the excuse me here, the Wi-Fi and everything. And I'm, still having a little problems with it right now. So I probably will not be on long. Well, most likely I won't, due to several reasons. Besides Wi-Fi problems, the other is that, well, I'm always hurting, and I always stay busy and stuff, and I got things I have to do by getting up in the morning and getting about and around about and all that kind of stuff and what have you. But anyway, the beautiful great one is good. So what we're going to do is try to dive right on into this. Um, Again, I want to apologize that I did not get to go on live Sunday night. I was hoping to, but certain events happen, and it's one of those things, right? So, what I want to do is cover on different little topics here, but these are interesting. Now, a few of these might be shorts, but still, would love your comments, your input, your thoughts. What is your take on it? Is it real conspiracy, or maybe like conspiracy theories, or is it a little bit of both, real and conspiracy, or whatever, right? Now I have my thoughts and views, and yours may differ from mine. I understand that, and still would like to hear your take on things. And whenever we disagree, and everything is right in the world, okay? So I am going to first start out with Nephilim. How many knows what Nephilim are? Some of you, I'm pretty sure a lot of you know what Nephilim are, and some of you might not, or not for sure. Well, to put it real quick, Nephilim is the byproduct of the fallen angels, not the heavenly host angels, because mind you, the heavenly host angels are with the beautiful great one in heaven, right? Now, the fallen ones, of course, they fell, cast out, because they rebelled. And so, anyway, they did the very thing that was forbidden. They married the human women, had children with them, which they were not supposed to. It was forbidden, but they did it anyway. And then they not only did that, but they experimented around with animals and whatever, and perverted a lot of stuff. But anyway, all right, that's just a little small brief rundown on that. All right, so let's go to this first vid. It's a short, but I want you to listen to it and give your comments and thoughts.
If the USA went to war with Iraq back in the day to get Nephilim DNA, listen to this.
Listen to this email sent to government officials on the Freedom of Information Act website, requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the location of the buried Nephilim. That was sent on December 13th, 2018, and the status of that email is closed. We also have testimonies from museum curators saying that the very first place that the United States military went when they invaded Iraq was to museums within the heart of ancient Babylon. This may be one reason why the CIA is investing so much money recently into DNA editing firms, so that when they get remains or artifacts with Nephilim DNA, they can actually extract them and resurrect them back to life like they're trying to do now with extinct animals.
Look,
Now, you may think that that is hogwash. OCO, OCO. Hey there, bro. Yeah, I was supposed to go to live last night, bro, and I didn't get to, due to Wi-Fi problems, and I'm having a little bit of it tonight. So, but I'm going to try to keep all this short tonight because I got to get up tomorrow and do things, even though I'm hurting and everything else, having to look out after, take turns looking out after a mother with my brothers. So anyway, tonight we're first topic is on Nephilim, and then we're gonna kind of go into a little bit of other things here, but I will keep it short. And this one I'll fact I'll play this one more time. Um, let you hear it, and you can give your input on it. Uh, so here we go. One more time.
nothing surprises me anymore. Comment your thoughts on this, follow for more.
Hold on. We we'll get it going.
So, what if the USA went to war with Iraq back in the day to get Nephilim DNA? Listen to this.
Listen to this email sent to government officials on the Freedom of Information Act website, requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the location of the buried Nephilim. That was sent on December 13th, 2018, and the status of that email is closed. We also have testimonies from museum curators saying that the very first place that the United States military went when they invaded Iraq was to museums within the heart of ancient Babylon. This may be one reason why the CIA is investing so much money recently into DNA editing firms, so that when they get remains or artifacts with Nephilim DNA, they can actually extract them and resurrect them back to life like they're trying to do now with extinct animals.
Look, nothing surprises me anymore. Comment your thoughts on this, follow for more.
Yeah. Now that was interesting, and see now me, I don't believe that that is a conspiracy theory. Not at all. Because a fact that a lot of the giants' bones, the Smithsonian has conveniently made them disappear, and not to mention the incident that had happened, and I believe it was, I think it was Afghanistan, where they had, I might be wrong, but if I am, someone can correct me on it, where the soldiers had run across a living giant. The giant killed one of the soldiers, but the rest of the soldiers brought the giant down. But they were supposed to keep it hush hush and all this, and a chopper comes in to take the giant and all this out, blah blah blah. But I think about what this young man had was hitting on about the government, CIA, the DNA and stuff. I don't doubt at all that they're trying to bring back the Nephilim. And I mean, look, because they already want to bring back dinosaurs, right? Yeah. So, which didn't they watch Jurassic Park? All right. I mean, really, Jurassic Park. I mean, even though that was a movie, but in reality, if you had actually could bring back these uh, dinosaurs. I'm not talking about the herbivores. They're not a threat, but all the others, the meat eaters. Oh, you talking about a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. If they was to bring them back, man, it'd be worse than what it would be in the movies. Because if something's going to go wrong, it will go wrong. especially when you're dealing with wild animals and such. Okay, I got another short here I would like to share with you and get your thoughts and intakes on this.
Purposes only and is not being presented as absolute fact. Please enjoy. And don't forget, use discretion. Reddit user shares his father's account while being stationed at McMurdo Station in Antarctica as a doctor during the 1990s. Throughout his 11-month tour there, he was the only doctor that was actually at the site. As a result, he was required to go on the expeditions with the research teams and the military personnel, just in case any of them got injured on the job. When he first arrived there, everything seemed pretty normal. He went about his daily activities as a doctor as he would on any other military base. But that all changed when he started seeing bodies come in with peculiar injuries. As you would expect in Antarctica, many of the deaths were the result of hypothermia. But slowly more and more bodies came in that weren't consistent with hypothermia as cause of death. He started seeing bodies with deep lacerations in their abdomen and chest, or missing limbs. So naturally, he'd ask the soldiers that brought them in what had happened, but he was immediately silenced and told to write hypothermia as the cause of death. These were the first clues that told him something more was going on here, and it started to pique his curiosity. It was at this point that he began to observe his everyday activities, especially in the field, with much more intent. He started to pay more attention to his surroundings, especially when he tagged along on the expeditions. That's when he noticed on every expedition, they would take a 5-mile detour around a certain point south of McMurdo Station.
Um, let's see. Let me pull that up where I can see. Don't know. Don't necessarily know about bringing back giants, so I do think they are trying to clone humans. Oh yeah, I mean they're definitely doing all that. I mean they got stuff going on, bro. They got stuff going on that we'll never know until after the fact, later on down the line somewhere. You know. Uh, I personally believe they already got clones going. But they're wanting to try to keep it more low key, hushity hush. Don't talk about it much. Just leave it as conspiracy theories. Yeah, but there's too many facts out there to brush it off as a conspiracy theory. You know, they have cloned animals. A lot of the ones they on the animals did not really work out. But there was one where they succeeded. Could be more, most likely more that did succeed. So I mean, they're going to do it with animals. They're going to do it with humans, and because already they got like we're military, um, trying to do the uh, experiments on soldiers and stuff. The super soldier type things. Uh, but they want to eventually make it possible for everyday people under the guise of trying to say that it's good for bringing healing for the human body, get rid of diseases by using animal DNA and, experimenting with the genome and all this kind of stuff. And that's really going to be scary because they're going to mess up big time. But there's all this clandestine stuff. Now, like this guy here, that he's relating a story that would, um, part of me wants to say, hey, Ocio, hey, Danny, I want to say that this guy's, uh, the guy that's talking, it's not his story. He's relating another's. Yeah, I'm still kicking barely, but I'm a kicking. I'm still breathing. Just staying busy and all that kind of stuff, and having to help take care of mother, and plus take care of the animals and this and that and the other team. Now this guy's story that he's relating, again, it's not his story. I find it kind of iffy, but I'll let you listen. This is about uh, the Antarctic thing there.
What also struck the doctor as odd is that all the expeditions went to the exact same location, about 30 miles south and 10 miles east of McMurdo Station. And when they get to their location, he was required to stay in the truck, so he wasn't able to see exactly what was going on. It was then that he realized he'd have to befriend somebody on the research team to find out more. So this is what he did. He befriended a veteran of the station, somebody who had been there for 10 years. And a couple months after their friendship, he asked, "Why do we detour 5 miles around this location every time we come out on these expeditions?" His friend turned white as a ghost, and he looked terrified, told him to shut up and never ask that question again, and stormed off. His first idea totally backfired, and later that night, while resting in his room, he got a knock on the door requesting that his CO had his presence. This guy was a hard ass, and he was the commanding officer of the entire station. He chewed the doctor's ass, calling him everything under the sun, and told him to mind his own business or he'd be sent back to the States.
I'm sorry. I sit there and thought I thought I had my mic on. I was trying to answer Danny. I was telling him that if I'm still up here, and everything, and when he gets back, yeah, just to jump on in. But yeah. All right, let's get back in on this. I'm sorry for having. I had paused the thing and was sitting there talking and everything, and the mic was off. Okay, here we go.
At that point, Doc knew he had something. For the next couple weeks, it was pretty quiet around the station, until one night, all of that changed. Doc was just wrapping things up, about ready to call it a day, when his door flew open, and there was a gentleman on a stretcher being pushed by two soldiers. "Doc, we need your help. He's injured pretty bad." As he approaches the injured soldier, he immediately recognizes that he's not even a person stationed at McMurdo. He took mental note and started treating him. He had lacerations covering his body. "What happened?" he asked the soldiers. "He fell." He instantly knew, bull, no way. The reason he knew they were lying is because the lacerations were too clean. So clean that there's no way ice or snow could have done this damage. Nevertheless, he begins treating the man and trying to ask him questions, but notices that he's really delirious, almost in an anesthesia-like state. And as he's asking him questions, he begins mumbling something he doesn't quite understand. "We shouldn't have let them out. They were in the ice. We thought they were dead." And suddenly, one of the soldiers tells him to shut up and shove something in his mouth. He proceeds to put a gag around the soldier's mouth to keep him quiet, and that's when the doctor had to step in. "What the hell are you doing?" "Stand back," said the soldier as he raised his M16 and pointed it at the doctor's face. The doctor couldn't believe what was taking place, and the soldier yells, "Treat him!" So he wraps him up, and they send him on a plane to South America the next flight. After this, he upped his game, and he really started digging. When researchers weren't looking, he'd snatch their notes and go over them. That's when he first saw pictures of what he would come to call the Striders. He said they were unlike any creature on Earth, like nothing he had ever seen before. But even so, these were still just rough drawings in notepads, nothing definitive. One day, while out in the field, he even tried to corner one of the researchers, a female, but she quickly panicked and told him to stop asking her questions, stormed off. Once again, that night while laying in bed, he hears a knock at the door. The CO was demanding his presence. And once again, he got his ass chewed, was called every name under the sun, and told that they don't want his type there. His commanding officer even told him one more slip up and they're sending you back to the States. But at this point, the doctor was used to this, so he just took it and then went on with his day. It wasn't until later that night that he actually did what got him kicked out of Antarctica and back to the States. When he knew his commanding officer had gone to bed, he went back to his office, broke in, and found some documents in his desk. They were mostly pretty vague, talking about operations and the like, but eventually he stumbled onto something that caught his attention. It was a manifest requesting a pile of ammo. Now, why would they need this much ammo at a station where there's really no threats or nothing that could overtake them on a continent where there's not even really supposed to be military personnel according to the Antarctic Treaty? This was the evidence he needed to convince himself that he wasn't crazy.
Well, that was interesting. I'll say it like this. I believe the story is interesting, but somehow part of me finds that part of this is hard to really swallow. Now, I could be wrong, but anyone is free to believe what they want on this one guy's story. It sounds like something from a sci-fi film, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I mean, it sounds like a synopsis on some sci-fi movie. It really does. But I mean, hey, maybe, I mean, parts of it could be true and the rest elaborated. I don't know. But I thought it was interesting nevertheless, and I wanted to share it and let anyone who wants to comment what they think about it. So anyway, I got to, let's see, I got another short. It's me, and I ain't eating goober peas. All right, here, this one is, yeah, doesn't it? It really does there, bro. It really does. I mean, it sounds definitely iffy. It it makes you wonder if he just the person that wrote the story. Maybe they were on something. Maybe they watched a sci-fi film because I've seen a sci-fi film sometime back ago that kind of fit the the description that this guy's giving. Yeah. Now, I may be wrong, but I mean, that's the way I view, view it, because it sounds too much like a movie, a sci fi movie. Uh, so, yeah. Anyway, I put my link for anyone who wants to join in on a panel. Though I won't be on here too long tonight because a lot of things to do tomorrow. So, but I said I was going to come on tonight live, and here I is. All right. All right. Here's another thing. Now, this is interesting on showing UFOs, which is really cool. Um, you might have to, if you're on your computer or tablet or whatever, laptop, you might have to expand the full screen to really see it good. But this is a short, but you got to see this.
We see something falling from the night sky in Homestead, Florida. At first glance, I would assume it is some foreign object or debris entering the Earth's atmosphere. But the way it reacts, I would assume it could be something else. I mean, from my experiences seeing meteors, they don't hang around in the skies for so long. They burn up and dissipate rather quickly. But as we can see here, these objects in the skies seem to hang around, and at some points, move around in the skies. Some continue to form more light trails before very slowly dispersing and fading away. In this video, we
Oh,
see
hold
something
on.
falling.
Now that right there, the way those it was it was cool the way those things came down. Hey, OCO there, bro. OCO Randy. Now the way those lights and stuff came down, first you think meteors or something, maybe satellites. But what's interesting is that it's funny how they just kind of slow down and they hang in there. Hey, and they just hang there, right? They just hang there, and before they dissipate, and their movement is contrary to, in case someone thinks they're flares. Flares don't quite work that way, but that was interesting anyway. That leaves where you wonder what the heck was it? Were they UFOs? Uh, was it even possible satellites? I doubt it, but it could be possible. I've never seen anything like that react. Like I've seen video footages of where satellites have broken up in the atmosphere and spread out, fallen. And I've seen meteors skim across the atmosphere and explode, but I've never seen it like that. That was interesting. I'd like to know what people's thoughts are on that. And okay, I have another one here I want to share with you and see what your thought is. I can't remember if this one is a short or not, but the next one will be a little lengthy. I won't show all of it, but anyway, uh, here we go.
Year is 1974. The headline reads, "Are UFO sightings and mutilations related?" Opening paragraph: mutilated livestock, unauthorized helicopters, and unidentified flying objects have residents wondering and worried in some areas of Nebraska. Doors are locked and guns are loaded. But that is just a fragment of the story. It's been documented by the FBI.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, how many of you remember? Um, oh, dang! I think it was back during like the '80s. I believe it was roughly around in there. It could have been '70s, but I think it was more like in the '80s. Uh, it was where was that? Around Montana, Wyoming, somewhere up around in them areas there. Where they had the cattle mutilations and stuff, but they had strange lights and stuff. But some had said that they were helicopters. That they were came down. They'd pick the cattle up. They would and all this kind of stuff. They would do their laser thingy surgeries on them and stuff, and take little parts of them and use for experimenting on doing biological warfare. And so it makes you think about it, really. I mean, with all that other stuff, pandemics and stuff, and threats, it just makes you wonder whether from our governments or other governments and what have you. It really makes you wonder. Uh, someone wants to say aliens or Nephilim. That's very possible, but nevertheless, it is a mystery. But it's something, that people would put it off on the occultists doing that. I'm sorry, but I don't care who the occult members are. They're not that precise, and they ain't no way they could have all the blood drained where there'd be no blood on the ground from them, from the cattle. You know, I'm sorry, they're just not that precise. They're pretty. They like using knives and doing their cutting and all this kind of stuff, and that leaves a mess, especially on the ground. You can't clean that up. So yeah, so it is truly a mystery. And this, the ones that's covering this is Justin Knight, Justice Knight, or Justin Knight. Anyway, here on YouTube, you can always check out on his channel. They got great stuff on there. So anyway, go on.
One such article held in their files in the vault is the mutilation mystery. Well, again, we're talking 1973 for this article. Fast forward to today, and it's happening again. Madison County Sheriff's Office coming out of Texas, April 19th, 1:24 p.m. They're investigating the death and mutilation of cattle. Ranchers advise a 6-year-old longhorn cross cow has been found lying on her side, deceased, and mutilated on their ranch, but the story expands well beyond that, and that is what we're here to cover. Well, it's happening again, but we'll give you all the details. Before we do, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please make sure you do. And then also, we're going to give you a very special offer today over at Restricted Republic, our audience-funded news channel, where only you and us control the storylines. Once you're at the platform, you'll go nowhere else. For your news that matters, again, that is restricted. Go back, there's a big similarity between a story, well, from about 1978 in this documentation through today, something eerily familiar. Now, many experts have evaluated the reports, and as one says here, he begins by telling about, well, I'll zoom that in a little bit. This is one man interviewed about, I'll let you hear it here. He begins by telling about being invited to Malmstrom Air Force Base to observe the radar track of an object that was appearing during the time that the mutilations were taking
Glad you're back there, Danny.
place. Again, back between years of about 1973 and 1979. And finding himself asked to leave the radar room by a mysterious individuals in black uniforms who were from off base, much to the embarrassment of the colonel that had invited him there to go ahead and evaluate what's happening. Cattle mutilations, one researcher's theory on what's happened. It's been dismissed a million ways to Sunday. Well, for one thing, coyotes and mice are not as exciting. If you can mix perversion and cults and the unknown, you can have a wonderful mix of a story that their people can let their imagination run wild on. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I'm sure they're more reasonable than Martians and ray guns.
Yeah, those mutilated animals, cattle and stuff, livestock. Yeah, right. Done by coyotes and mice. Mm-hmm. For real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know that no mice and no coyote or any other such predators out there could ever do that kind of stuff to any animal. Period. That's just crazy. But hey, how the G-men and all them like to just cover things up and just, hey, we can't have people being in on what's going on, so let's just give them stupid stuff. They're stupid, they'll believe it. Yeah,
Well, when you hear the details of this story, we'll see if his description holds up. What had happened to that cattle out of Texas? A straight, clean cut with apparent precision. had been made to remove the hind around the cow's mouth on one side, leaving the meat under the removed hide untouched. The tongue was also completely removed from the body with no blood spill. This happened in all the cattle they found, and they weren't all in one location, but there's a lot more details that make the story a bit eerie. It was noted that there was no signs of struggle, and the grass around the cow was undisturbed. No footprints or tire tracks were noted in the area. Ranchers also reported that no predator or birds would scavenge the remains of the cow, leaving it to decay untouched for several weeks. Anybody who's been around a ranch or a dead animal know that the scavengers swoop in immediately. But in this case, no predators or birds.
Yeah, that's another weird thing about that too. Is you take everyone knows you got any dead animal, I don't care what it is, sitting out there and then next thing you know,
Greetings from South
hey,
Carolina.
hey, Ocio, bro.
What's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. Just sitting around, making sure stay busy, keeping an eye on mother, and well, the usual hurting and all that kind of good stuff, and staying tired all the time. But I was gonna go on live last night, but I was having a lot of Wi-Fi problems and stuff, so I didn't get to. And I said, well, Wi-Fi problems or not, I'm gonna, come on tonight, even though I
So
won't be
you've been
on
having a lot of
hold.
bad storms.
Huh? Say again?
You've been having bad storms.
Well, actually, we have been having them, but not around here. They have actually, uh, by the good Lord's grace, just bypass us. Which is good, but it's terrible for how that has always happened, where others has been hit by that stuff. Man, I hate seeing it always happen. But with storms, you never know one way or another which direction they're going to take. And around here, we got a storm shelter. Not a very good one, but it'll do. But the problem is, one is we couldn't get our mother down in that over there. It's too far from her house, and she just barely does any good walking, let alone with a walker. I mean, she just barely gets anywhere. So we just rely on the good Lord's grace, with her and stuff, because they don't around here. There's no other people that has shelter except over at the school, and they're not going to open the school up for anyone around there. Which I don't even know why they even got a storm shelters over there, but it's supposed to be open to the public in an event of bad storms, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But anyway,
About the worst we get around here is, a little thunderstorm or something.
yeah, I mean, the way it usually works around here, we get a lot of lightning whenever there's bad stuff going on. Uh, there's usually you get the wind, but we got a lot of trees around here. It serves as a windbreak. Then the lightning and thunder. Of course, I'm scared to death of lightning. I've been almost hit twice by it, and I was temporarily blinded both times. So I'm tetrified of lightning. If the dogs say that they gotta go, I like, hey, you go in the house. Don't until this is over. I ain't going out there to get hit by no lightning, let alone for them to get hit. So, like, no way. I can clean up a mess, but I can't resurrect a dog or myself. So, further, if I survive a lightning strike, then it'd definitely be a mess because somebody would say, get the depends. because there would be a mess. Yeah, Randy. Yeah, you're right, bro. I mean, right now they're in Texas. I've been up around in Brownsville, up there around in that neck of the woods. And I've seen those storms come through there, and boy, I tell you what, in Texas and Oklahoma is definitely tornado alley, and everything else you can think of. And so, yeah, I know what that's like. Um, Now, on this here, where they was talking about the cattle mutilations, now they brought up a good thing, interesting thing. Where if an animal is dead, your uh, vultures, coyotes, and what have you is going to be coming out there and feasting off of it. But if they won't touch it, there's something wrong with it. You
That
know,
that, that is true.
and that is odd. That so now the question would lie: is it government doing experiments and they did something on it with these carcasses to such that the animals won't touch it, or was it alien thing? That's the thing. But one thing is for sure. Something is up when you find a mutilated carcass of livestock that's been sitting out there for days and no animals touched it.
You know, I saw recently, like yesterday on the news, where it's happening again somewhere. I think it was in Texas or something.
Oh yeah, man. Uh, they have a
Uh,
lot of that
Cattle
stuff.
mutilations.
Yeah, and it really makes you wonder, with all this stuff that's been going on with, the food shortage things, the government saying just eat bugs, right? And then all those cattle that they said they starved because and was dying of thirst. Yeah, that was the cause because of the drought. It's like a lot of these ranchers all around, whether in Texas and here in Arkansas, Kansas, wherever, they all know with as many cattle they said it died. They didn't die because of drought conditions. You know, it just kind of makes you wonder if that's the other side of the coin. If the government had something, makes you wonder if they had something to do with the cattle dying, and all the convenient accidents with some of these food plants exploding, burning up, uh, chicken ranches and farms and stuff burning up, exploding, blah blah blah, this and this and that. It just you just scratch your head. It's like somebody needs when they sitting there telling us to eat bugs. Somebody ought to tell them. So I tell you what, all these elites that are saying all this stuff, why don't someone tell them? So you show us you eating it without the camera being taken off of you by somebody who ain't gonna lie for you, and let's see how well you like it. Let's see you eat it for a month and see how well.
You do know that a lot of countries like France and Switzerland and the Netherlands, they all eat bugs regularly as part of their diet.
Oh well, they do
They've
that in
been doing it for
Africa.
hundreds of years.
Well, they do that in
India, they
Africa.
you should see some of the nasty stuff they eat in India.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, you got not just there, but in Africa. You got there in South America. But see, the thing is if you are forced into something, that's not cool. Uh, if you got the choice in it, that's all right. If you got the choice, But I would rather have the choice, because I ain't going to eat bugs unless it's a survival situation.
Yeah,
I,
I don't think I'd eat no bug neither. I'm just saying.
I have had fried grasshoppers and stuff. They're more better just ground up and used as a seasoning
Yeah,
on food. But but I would rather always to have the choice. And only way I would.
shit, making me sick on my stomach talking about it. I've been
I
drinking vodka, man. Let's change the subject. Ah,
yeah, bugs. Yeah. All right.
rather have me a freaking hamburger.
Yeah. Randy says I witnessed a cow's body with no eyes and no cutting done on to it, but completely sucked dry. Uh, wow, wow, bro. Oh, you're headed towards Wyoming. Beautiful country up through there, bro. Wyoming's real beautiful, and Montana is also beautiful.
Yeah, that's where they
Very,
got that devil. That's where they got that Devil's Tower where they film Close Encounters.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that was a
I
real
think
good
that's out
movie.
in Wyoming.
I think so. I think that's where it was. I'm pretty sure it had to be out there. I mean, because it is beautiful country up through there. And uh, Randy says, yes, it is. uh, but now I'm going. Now, if anyone wants to watch the rest of that story that Justin Knight is done on this, feel free to go on to his channel. Subscribe to him, and his wife or his girlfriend, I can't remember which one, Lisa Knight. Go over to, they work together and stuff and all that. But you can check their channels out. All right, and now I let me find this real quick. Let me get this out of the way. All right, now this, I'm not going to show all of this, but this is interesting. Like y'all's take on it, and let's try to get this thing going and see what you think.
And is one of the Earth's most beautiful and mysterious places. Its depths stretch seemingly forever, and its sheer size can be breathtaking. But it's not just the physical beauty of the canyon that makes it so mysterious. It holds secrets about our planet's history that have yet to be uncovered. Turns out, the canyon might have been home to ancient Egyptians and even giants. And it was proven only to be covered up. Yup, this one's about to take a turn no one was expecting. Come along as I take you on a journey to discover the hidden history of the Grand Canyon.
I've always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon and never got the opportunity. Never. I never got the opportunity to go. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, I know how that goes with the losing the connection. I understand that too, there, Danny. Um, but the Grand Canyon, I've never been. Been through Arizona and all that, but I've never been to the Grand Canyon. That just sucks, now, don't it? But I'll tell you, this is a very interesting thing. Now, I'll let you listen to it and you share your thoughts and opinions on it. I find it very fascinating, very intriguing.
And the lengths everyone had to go to keep it hidden. In 1908, President Teddy Roosevelt wanted to protect the Grand Canyon from timber and mining operations. He took a bold stand, declaring it a national monument and protecting it from further development. As the Grand Canyon's popularity skyrocketed over the years, so did its need for protection. At least that's what we were told anyway. You see, all of this might have seemed like the normal course of action, but it simply was not. It was all happening way too fast, and suddenly everyone was going to lose access to some of the sections of the canyon. Explorer G.E. Kincaid was one of the many people that were obsessed with the canyon and everything it was about. So, naturally, he was sad to hear about the fact that he might never be able to see it in its full glory again. While there was clearly nothing he could do to stop the Grand Canyon from being closed off in some places, he could have one last hurrah. With that in mind, he took a boat down the Colorado River and through the canyon. He searched for precious minerals like gold, silver, and copper, which were abundant in the area at the time. Kincaid was hoping to get his hands on some of these much sought-after materials before it was too late and the Grand Canyon would be off-limits forever. And well, while the plan was great, he had no idea what he was about to actually find. After sailing up the river for about 40 miles, he spotted something strange, stains in the sediment formation that was around 2,000 feet high. This was far from normal in the area, so he decided to investigate and so stopped his boat and set out on foot. Although there was no trail, he wanted to go check it out anyway. Kincaid soon stumbled upon something remarkable. Hundreds of steps carved into the sandstone leading up to a high shelf on the side of the canyon.
Yeah, I'll tell you what there, bro, Randy, that where the Grand Canyon is, I mean, it is beautiful. From all the pictures and stuff I've seen and everyone who I know that has been there, man, I tell you, I remember I'd pester my papa every time we would go through Arizona heading to California. As a kid, I would pester him to stop there, you know, but now he was on our way to visit relatives there in California back then, and never did get to see it. In fact, even as an adult, never had the opportunity. Been here, there, and everything, but never had the opportunity to go there. And to me, it's not just beautiful, but there's a lot of mystery about it. And and if you're not into the mystery, just the beauty alone is great. I would love to go there. I always wanted to be able to get on one of those mules and have a ride down there. I bet that would be fun.
He followed the steps until he reached an entrance that was clearly man-made. This was crazy because there shouldn't have been anything man-made down there. People had never existed in that part of the canyon. Amazed by what he was looking at, he couldn't help himself. He stepped inside and turned on his flashlight. Upon further inspection, Kincaid noticed strange hieroglyphs covering the walls of this cavern, but they weren't like any he had seen before. They were ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs in the Grand Canyon of all places. Then saw that the tunnel stretched far out into the distance.
Me too there, bro. I tell you, me and you both. Hey, sis, glad to have you. Hi, how's it going, sis?
And unknown to him at that point, this was only the beginning of a much bigger discovery. Kincaid knew then that he had stumbled upon something extraordinary, an entrance to a hidden ancient passage. He was eager to explore further and uncover the mysteries within this forgotten cave, but he couldn't have possibly guessed at what awaited him. He realized that he wasn't just exploring a passage, but an entire underground city. The main passageway was around 12 feet wide, while some of the rooms were as big as 30 by 40 feet square. He also noticed that the ceilings in many of the rooms converged to a center, and that the side passages near the entrance ran at a sharp angle from the main hall. Intricate planning had gone into it all. Kincaid was amazed to discover that the walls were around 3 feet 6 inches thick, a feat of engineering he couldn't understand.
Now that's interesting. That's like to discover that there in the Grand Canyon. But of course, you know how our government is, and other governmental entities are on trying to cover up stuff like this.
He wasn't standing in a building, he was underneath the canyon. How could all of this even be there? But that's not all. He also found several granaries with shelves, some
Oh, sis, I'm sorry, sis. You'll be in my prayers. In fact, you're always in my prayers. I can understand what you're going through. I got that one thing on my face that I got in August. The skin doctor's booked up and have to wait till August to, got this thing on my face they need to check out. But yeah, my mother, she just had a MRI done on her head, and so we're waiting to find out from the doctors. But it's been 4 or 5 days since they have did the MRI on her, and we haven't heard nothing from them. I told my brother, I said, just keep calling them and pestering them so they give some information on what's going on with my mother. Her memory is so bad. She's got that dementia, and the way what we see is there's 3 stages, and the way we see it, she's right on the latter part of that second stage to go into the third. I've been praying for her, and I know some of y'all have been praying for her. She still needs your prayers, but yeah, I can understand how you're feeling about all of that. Uh, Having breathing trouble. My brother has problems with breathing. He has to do. I forget what that stuff thing is. He has to do for breathing. It's besides the inhaler, it's that other stuff. You might know what I'm talking about, but probably I'll end up having him on oxygen. Yeah, but yeah, you're always in my prayer. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, sis. I really do. I really do. Thank you, Wado.
of which still contained seeds, as well as cooking areas and a huge dining hall. The rooms were full of all kinds of artifacts,
Wado there, Randy. Appreciate it. Thank you.
including metal tools made out of copper, a technology that shouldn't have existed in this area. Then he found another large room, what appeared to be an area for metalwork, but with no trace of where or how it was done or its origin. Just when Kincaid thought his discoveries were over, he stumbled onto yet another large room, equipped with shelf upon shelf and row upon row of mummies. He had no idea when this place was used, what it was for, and who the builders were. It was then that Kincaid realized he was going to need help if he wanted to explore the entire underground city. Because this wasn't just an artifact, there was hundreds of years of history here to uncover, and he wanted to do it all as fast as he possibly could. After naming his insane discovery, the Citadel, he sent artifacts and notes to the Smithsonian, asking for financial and logistical support. They agreed, and Professor S.A. Jordan arrived soon after with a team of 40 scientists, researchers and laborers to help with the excavation and exploration. That would be much better than him just exploring the lands all alone on his own. He needed the skilled hands and eyes to gather as much information about this underground city as they possibly could. After further investigation, it became obvious that the cave system had been expertly designed in a symmetrical layout. It wasn't just a random set of rooms and tunnels. All of the tunnels eventually led to one central chamber, where a giant statue resembling Buddha sat cross-legged with a lily or lotus flower in each hand. The scientists weren't sure what religion the idol represented, but believed it may have been related to ancient Tibet. Then came the Cross Hall, a huge room measuring over 100 feet long. There were rows of mummies on shelves at various levels, with copper cups and broken swords on small benches at the head of each row. Some of the mummies had been covered with clay, while others were wrapped in a bark fabric.
Me too there, Randy. Absolutely. Now, what's interesting is is that this is in the Grand Canyon, you know, but looking at you would think that okay, it was somewhere over in Europe or the Middle East somewhere, you know. I mean, you'd think that's where it took place, but it's in the Grand Canyon. And they also found giant mummies in this place too, you know. Uh, I always thought it would be interesting, you know, like you was saying, you know, it'd be great, you know, to film such a location as that, to discover something like that. That would be very interesting, you know, be awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
The urns and cups on the lower shelves were crude, while those on the higher shelves had more intricate designs. All of the mummies examined thus far were all male. No females or children had been found in the entire area, leading Kincaid to believe that this was some kind of warrior's barracks. As they made their way through the citadel, it became clear that this wasn't just a temple inhabited by a few priests. It was an entire city that had been lived in by thousands of people for hundreds or possibly thousands of years. The team found evidence all around them that pointed to a vibrant, thriving community filled with everyday life. But who were they? And more importantly, what happened to them? With over 40 scientists, it's not surprising that a bunch of theories came up. While a lot of them were totally different from one another, there were two things everyone agreed upon. The civilization that crafted this citadel was incredibly advanced for its time and far more sophisticated than any of the native tribes that had occupied the area for thousands of years. But the craziest of it all was that it wasn't local to the Grand Canyon. This was an ancient civilization that had traveled from either Egypt or Asia. Kincaid and Professor Jordan sent boxes of artifacts with accompanying research notes back to the Smithsonian Institute in order to prove their hypothesis of this lost civilization. They detailed how these people were educated, skilled, and spiritually complex, and how this civilization was technologically advanced. Kincaid wanted to further his research, but needed more resources and a bigger team to help him. So he contacted the Smithsonian again. Unfortunately, the request was rejected, and while that would have been sad anyway, the craziest thing happened.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Smithsonian, they're notorious for covering up, and I guarantee you that they work for the government. You know, I mean, it is absolutely crazy. Hey, shock theater official, Ocio. I mean, it is absolutely crazy. They always cover up stuff, you know, and it's like, why are they hiding this stuff? Why? This ought to be such fascinating news for everyone, right? I mean, here you got different civilizations, you know, from different nations and countries, right? You're finding it all in one spot there in the Grand Canyon in this huge uh, cave, which is more like an underground city. And yet Smithsonian and the military wants to hide it. Why? What's your speculation on why?
Kincaid and Jordan were never heard from again. It was almost like they vanished into thin air. All of their workers either left for other states in the US, died, disappeared, or just decided they didn't know anything, just in case a case is filed. As long as they get to go on with their lives, they didn't care what happened. Kincaid and Jordan's disappearances were more than enough to shake things up.
Now that's interesting. Their disappearances. There you go again. I mean, you no matter where you go in this world, when you're dealing with governments and other type entities like that, they always cover up everything, even stuff that. Why are they covering it up? I mean, like this. Why cover it up? what ulterior motive would these idiots, Smithsonian and these others, why would they cover it up? That's the question.
No one really believed in the project anymore, and that's when the government swooped in and decided that no one would enter the area. For many thousands of years, the Grand Canyon has been home to several native tribes, including the Hopi, Zuni, Navajo, and Apache. According to Hopi mythology, this is where the first humans entered the world as lizard people. Yes, you heard that right. Apparently, these reptilian shapeshifters emerged from the Grand Canyon and evolved into humans. If they were going to start off anywhere, it had to be somewhere like this, right? Other
That is funny, sis. Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, and yeah, yeah, these people, it makes you wonder, right?
Pueblo cultures have similar stories of otherworldly creatures in their legends, some lizard people, others giants. In fact, rumors suggest that these giant skeletons have been found all over the western United States.
Yeah, exactly. Everywhere, whether in this country, overseas, OCO Intrepids, and Cool Dog, all of you, yeah. All right. I mean, all these were the giant bones and stuff, like, and then this find in the Grand Canyon, this underground city in this huge cave complex thing there. I mean, why cover it up? And I'm sure there's some of you that have your theories on it. I would love to hear it. It's just crazy, man. Just crazy.
But the evidence has been suppressed. The mounds of America's Midwest ended up being an interesting archaeological site, as they appeared to be much more advanced than those in Europe at the time. There were reports of extremely tall skeletons, some as high as 7 or 8 feet, something that hadn't really been found anywhere else in a really long time. Basically, when the Spira Mounds in Oklahoma were excavated, these giant skeletons were found and sent to the Smithsonian for further examination.
Caucasian Sasquatch, OCO, Starlog, OCO. Now, all right, you can tie a lot of this in together, okay? Like when you're sitting there thinking about Sasquatches and aliens, and also thanks there, bro. All those with the Bigfoot Sasquatches, you're looking at something that somewhere it's all tied together if you really think about it. All you got to do is put your mind to it and take a look at around you at all these mysterious things that take place that or the G-men and such want to cover up. So I mean, you know that there's something to it all. So all right, I'll shut up now and let these continue talking here.
As they were familiar with the whole situation that was going on in the Grand Canyon anyway. But guess who claims they've heard nothing of the sort? Yep, the Smithsonian. This wasn't the only time something like this happened either. In 1892, stone coffins were discovered in Alabama by Frank Burns during a geological survey. These coffins weighed several tons and were hollowed out by fire and metal chisels. The findings were sent to the Smithsonian, where they were lost for a time before being rediscovered in 1984. Frederick J. Pohl asked the institution about these coffins, only to be told that they could not find them in their collections, although records indicated that they had been received at some point. Pohl then asked about the giant stone coffins and was told that they were stored in a warehouse contaminated by asbestos, making it impossible for anyone to see them, for safety purposes. 8 years later, the Smithsonian claimed that the coffins had been found, but failed to provide any further evidence of their existence. It was as if they just mentioned it once, so they'd never actually have to talk about it again. All these curious events have led many to believe that the US government is actively suppressing archaeological discoveries, and the Smithsonian's inability or unwillingness to confirm these findings only
Sorry about that. I had my mic muted. Yeah, did. um, but yeah, sis, like you were saying, it's just like everything else that they've covered up, and Caucasian Sasquatch. Yeah, I had I had that thing sit there muted, and I did not know that I had the mic muted. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, and we have all though back on this thing here, we got a lot of interesting stuff that's been discovered, and things that's yet to be discovered. But you know that somewhere along the line, they're always going to cover it up and hide it. And so then you got the question why they're doing it. We can all speculate, and sometimes I think we'll hit it right on the nail, and then some of it will come close to a good answer as to why they're doing it. And all the rest of the reasons, oh, heck, I don't know. I mean, really would love your thoughts on all this, and especially, all right, when it comes to like on the subject of aliens, like UFOs, um, Sasquatch, Nephilim, the giants, right, and things like this. I mean, why? What does everything have in common? Uh, just for an example, all right, what if, and I'm just using an if here, just to get y'all to, comment and share your thoughts. What if Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, etc., what if they and Nephilim and the giants and all this are interrelated? Sort of. Do you understand what I'm saying? Where I'm getting at? Do they have something all in common? They have a common denominator. So, what's your thoughts on all that? I find like this discovery that they had there in the Grand Canyon is very intriguing, you know, and it makes you want to stop to rethink about the history books and everything that we was taught in school and what you find in the libraries and stuff and these colleges and stuff. It makes you want to rethink everything. So I mean, it's interesting. Why are they leaving a lot of the truth out of the books?
adds fuel to the fire. Even though there's not that much public information, David Hatcher Childress's book, Ancient Aliens on the Moon, gives us another look at this fascinating discovery. This is great, considering we can't really learn that much about it from the sources that should have been giving this information. Instead, they're just suppressing it. Other books like Forbidden Archaeology by Michael Cremo, The Mystery of the Mounds by Robert Silverberg, and The Man and Impact in the Americas by Paul Baer offer further insight into this ever-growing controversy. But even if you take a look at some of the legends from the area, the Hopi people have a legend that dates back thousands of years. According to the story, a sky god came down from what they called a moving star and rescued them from destruction. This savior then led them to underground caves where they were safe. Afterward, the same god returned to his moving star and disappeared into the clouds. The Hopi also have stories of mysterious people called the Havmusos. These creatures are said to be small, pale-skinned humanoids with large eyes like an insect alien. They believe they lived in a vast underground city and traded with faraway peoples. They were even rumored to possess weapons capable of killing a man instantly. The most interesting part of their legend is that they flew around in silver canoes that made a humming noise and could move like an eagle at great speeds. These stories have been echoed in the myths of many ancient cultures, which also tell tales of a great flood that melted the ice caps and caused sea levels to rise 400 feet. This disaster wiped out cities, possibly even whole continents. Afterward, godlike people came down from the sky and gave humanity the gift of civilization, and taught them things they had forgotten before the Great Flood, like writing, astronomy, and agriculture.
There again, I forgot to turn on the mic again. Oh, dear me. All right, yeah, I know I'm tired and hurting. But as I was saying, it through legends and myths and stories, they're based on truth. And the thing is, through time, through the in the telling over the ages and stuff, oral traditions and such, after a while it gets kind of stretched. Oh, sorry about that, sis. Sorry about that, guys. Uh, Again, if you ever see that going on, tell me, say, turn on the mic, because I most likely forgot. Um, but anyway, there's a lot of truth in legends, but due to the years, people in their oral traditions tend to kind of add to it and stuff. But all right, take a look at it. You've heard about the god Apollo and Zeus and all that. See, it's based on reality, truth, but time it got switched, changed, added to. Now, my belief, now I don't know if you believe the same way as I do or somewhere close or what, but that it was based on when the Nephilim and the fallen angels was here on this earth making themselves known to the people at that time. That they were being worshipped as gods, you know. And then, of course, through time, things got embellished and what have you, and then you have what we got today. But it makes you wonder. It makes you really wonder. So now I could let this go on, and I'm sitting there looking at the time. It's 10:49 p.m. and I got to get up early in the morning. Now, I would like to continue on the next live that I do. I'd like to continue this on with some other interesting things that's kind of like interconnected here. But, you know, would like to hear more on your thoughts. Don't be afraid. Just share your thoughts. We can agree or we disagree or what. But it's just interesting to get input from others because some have insight into things that maybe I don't have. and maybe others don't have, so it's good to share, what we're thinking. So, I have a lot of stuff I got to do tomorrow. And I didn't want to stay on here long tonight because I got to get up in the morning. A lot of stuff to do. And I'm not a young puppy anymore. But anyway, I want to do. Boy, I'm tired. Uh, I want to thank all of you for having showed up tonight. And, hey, feel free to come back anytime. Uh, yeah, yeah, yep, definitely, bro. Uh, Part 2. And, we'll be looking forward to more of themes of this nature, more topics of this on, new discoveries about Nephilim, aliens, and what have you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, to share your thoughts, get your input on it. Hey, OCO there, country boy. How's it going, Standing Bear? You just catching me right now as I was making a bow out because it's getting late. And anyway, the next time I go live, I would love for y'all to come back and feel free to share your thoughts if and I'll put a link in the comment here in the chat where you can get up here and get in on the panel, share your thoughts, or you can stay in the chat and share. And if you're coming on after, watching this after this live, leave your comments below. Oh, I'm doing okay, Standing Bear. I'm just tired, hurting a lot, and always now more busy having to watch after my mother and after the animals around here. But yeah, as far as in general, I'm still breathing. I'm still kicking, and I'm still praying for y'all, for you and Lisa there, Standing Bear, and also for you, Randy. You're always in my prayers, all of you. But anyway, feel free to come in anytime when I'm up live, and then if you like what you're seeing, hit share it out, maybe a thumbs up would be okay. But anyway, I love you all, and I'm going to have to make a little exit here in the next few minutes here. And I'm going to say to every single one of y'all that I love you all, and always, always feel free to join in anytime you want, and hey, you may agree, we may disagree, or somewhere in between, but it's cool, because we get to know what each other's thinkings or thoughts are, have some better insight on some things that someone else doesn't have, so that's cool. All right, I want to say I love you, Standing Bear, love you, Danny, love you, Susan. And tell Daniel, tell Daniel I said love him too, and the animals and all, so hey, I love every one of y'all. And Randy, love you, bro. All right, so I'm gonna say good night and stay safe. Be blessed. I'll catch you on the flip side, and I'll see you later. Aho and wado.